Hello, Blizzard fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is Rain vs. Soulkey Game 3 of their Best of 5 series from the quarterfinals of IEM 9 held in Taipei 2015. And this is Overgrowth LE. I'm going to bring up the production tab, and in the bottom left we have Rain, the pink or red Protoss, and in the bottom right we have Soulkey, the blue or purple Zerg. Now I'm going to speed this game up just a little bit here. The series is currently led by Rain. He is up 2-1. So Soulkey needs to win this or he's going home from the quarterfinals, and Rain will advance on to the championship. So I expect Soulkey to fight for his life right now, and we'll see what he decides to do. He's sending out a pretty early scouting drone. Let's see if we can follow him and what he's going to see, what he can see. Moving on down, he knows exactly where his opponent is because on this map there are only 2 spawning locations, heading right down to the bottom left, and he sees a Forge coming down first with no Nexus. And so that makes him a little bit worried. A Forge first play from the Protoss player means he's probably interested in canning out the natural here of the Zerg player. And so we do have a spawning pool going down. He's not going 15 hatch. Soulkey recognizes the danger of doing that with that early Forge coming up. Oh, he did cancel the Forge, and instead is going for a gateway and a nexus, which the drone did scout out. So he does feel comfortable putting down his hatchery here, just because he recognizes the Forge is not there anymore. An early nexus did come down. We do see gas going down as well in the main of the Protoss player. So no early cannon rushes, no 2-gate shenanigans, no proxy stargates, anything like that. So feeling okay about things. We do have a lot of Zerglings coming out though. We're going to slow things a little bit down. There are 4 here, 2 also coming down. Are they going to be able to get in here before this is walled off? Again, this is a difficult to wall off natural. There's a big gap here on the right side, and all 4 Zerglings do get in. The Zealot pops out a little bit too late to do much of anything. Does get 1 swipe off on one of these Zerglings, but is not enough to kill it. A full scout coming off. I don't know if these 4 Zerglings are going to be able to kill many probes, just because Zealot the Bob the Zealot is chasing after them. And if they stop to attack, we're going to get some slashes off. Oh, 1 Zergling getting picked off there. This is an excellent micro from Rain. 3 more are left. 2 more here trying to take down a probe in the natural. Not quite able to do it. Trying to pick down this probe. No. So, I mean, these are scouting Zerglings. These are not much of harassment Zerglings, unfortunately. Checking for probes here at the natural. There are not any. They see the Chrono Boost going down on the Nexus, recognizing that's probably the Mothership Core, and bam. They get out of there just as a Mothership Core pops out. They escape. They survive with their lives. Again, got some good scouting information. Wasn't able to do any harassment there. So he is down 28 to 25 harvesters. No probes died whatsoever. No units died. And it looks like Rain says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and push out. Maybe push out with this Mothership Core and these 2 Zealots. Just worrying about a Zergling run by. This Stalker will pop out in just a couple of minutes and be able to block off this area that is open. So where are the Zerglings though? Ah, they're actually chasing after this probe that was coming up, maybe to set up a forward pylon. They're chasing after the probe still. We do have 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core heading up. Going to check for the presence, it looks like, of a 3rd base for Soulkey. I'm trying to see exactly what's going on from the Zerg player. The Zerglings were not able to kill that probe. It escaped safely. The Stalker shooed them away. Is going zap zap, get out of my house. And here come the Zealots. They're going to try to take down this 3rd. I don't see much of a response from Soulkey. He knew they were coming. He saw them. The Zerglings scouted that out, but okay, now comes the Queen and a bunch of Zerglings. The Zerglings, I think, are enough to clean up these 2 Zealots, especially if the Mothership Core is focusing on this 3rd base. Oh, so many more Zerglings coming down. Those Zealots are in big trouble. The Queen coming up as well, and the recall happens, and sending on home everybody, including the Mothership Core, to this natural, out of harm's way. Now, that is a mechanic that some Zergs do complain about, just because it means that the Protoss can go ahead and commit a fairly large force early in the game. If it's not going well for them, they just go back home, no harm done, all their units are still alive. And that's pretty much what they're doing. So Zerglings come in and try to sneak into the natural. They can't do it with 2 Bobs there and a Mothership Core and 2 Sentries. There's no way they're getting through that. They check for the presence of a 3rd for the Protoss player, and no, there's nothing there. 3rd base is up. No, there are 3 workers. Yes, transferring over. And a Queen at that 3rd base. So we'll have to see what each player is up to. There's a Forge coming down right now for Rain, and it looks like Soulkey is getting a Roach Warren and +1 attack for his Zerglings and his melee units. Yeah, right there. Also a Roach Warren, like I already said, popping up there, so not much of a surprise. We are just droning up as much as we can for the Zerg player, although 14 Zerglings did just pop out. He is down 50 to 46 harvesters, so maybe that's not the best choice. You might want to drone up a little bit. But in the end, he's trying to do some harassment, prevent this third from going down. But that many sentries, they can catch Zerglings and surround them, make them unable to attack anything, and get them all burned down by the DPS of these ranged units. So Soulkey wants to scout, he wants to harass, but he doesn't want to put those Zerglings in a spot where they're all going to die, because then he loses his map control, and that is not what you want to do. We have a photon cannon up here at the wall of the natural, as well as a single zealot. You'd be surprised how many Zerglings this can hold off, this combination. It's enough actually to warp in additional zealots if you need to. It can't hold out forever, but it will buy enough time for reinforcements to come defend that third. Again, poking in with the Zerglings, these guys get caught with some force field placement. Moving in again, trying to surround these sentries, but again, fantastic force field placement again. It's catching a couple Zerglings, Zergling blood everywhere. None of these sentries went down, but Soulkey might have kind of counted that as a bit of a win. Just because he did bait out some force fields from Rain, and so those are fewer force fields that will happen here at his natural when the attack eventually comes, as he thinks it will. And as a Zerg player, that's just what I expect to see from Protoss. You want to attack around the 10, 11, 12 minute mark, just because you can't leave a Zerg player alone forever. He will get so many bases and so many drones and just overwhelm you at some point. So a lot of gas coming up actually. Three there, three there, three there. The only gas Kaiser that is not taken is this one at the natural. So a lot of teching coming down, some roaches coming up as well. Small group of Zerglings swooping down the right side again, trying to harass. The army's in a good position for Rain to defend this, and also defend over here. This is the place you want to set up, if you can, if you're a Protoss player on this map. Hallucinated Phoenix popping around, not doing much of anything, just getting perfect scouts off on everything that's going on. He sees the Roach Warren. He does see the Infestation Pit that's coming up as well. Did he see that? Let's check. Actually, one. No, he didn't see the Infestation Pit. That might be some surprise to him, but I assume he knows that we're going to see Swarm Hosts, just because that is what Zergs do against Protoss in this particular patch of Heart of the Swarm. So a small group of roaches come down. They don't have any upgrades right now. They do have a ranged upgrade on the way, and the Zerglings again have a +2 melee upgrade happening as well. A Spire coming down as well for Soulkey. So this could be interesting. We might see some Corruptors. The Enduring Locust upgrade is coming up at this point for the Zerg player. He's just kind of poking down. A big attack coming up with Stalkers, with Sentries, with the Mothership Core, and a few Zealots. This might be pretty scary for this Roachling army, depending on how well the force fields go. Zerglings get up in there, do some damage. Stalkers blink up, manage to trap some Roaches in here who are not on attack move. They all get cleaned up. That was a pretty big pick-off, but the Zerglings are running in. Roaches moving in here, actually, sniping down this morphing in photon cannon, trying to take out probes, and forces the recall on the Protoss army. So Protoss army was pretty close up here. They were looking pretty threatening, but in the end, this Roach counterattack forced everybody back home. Rain did not want to lose all of the workers on this third. He knew that would hurt him, and so he came on back to defend against it. And that just bought Soulkey a little bit more time to get out some Infestors, or rather, I'm sorry, some Swarm Hosts, which is exactly what he's doing. He is processing 3 Swarm Hosts right now. A bunch are already out. More Zerglings and Roaches coming in to try to attack this third base. We do warp in some Zealots, but I don't know, they're not enough to defend against all of these Zerglings and all of these Roaches. Although they do have +1 upgrades, they do pretty well against the Zerglings, but the Roaches, if microed properly, are able to take most of them out. Ground level weapons too, not quite finished yet. Where do the Roaches decide to go is a good question, but warping in Stalkers are enough to take them down. Soulkey's not really paying attention to them right now. He's more focused on defending against this attack. Force field's going up, not doing a great job of keeping the Locusts away, but it does keep them away long enough that they do expire before they can do too much more damage. Phoenix hallucinated again, not really doing anything at all, but getting some good scouts off. This army is kind of moving around with the +2 weapons upgrades here at the 13-minute mark. Pretty scary stuff for the Zerg player. He is also getting +1 Carapace for his ground units and making more Swarm Hosts, getting another Evolution Chamber up and trying to spread this creep out as much as possible. The more creep there is out, the faster this Locust can move on this creep, and the farther out they can defend against attacks. So Warp Prism is here, kind of poking around, but there are Roaches waiting. Yes, Roaches waiting for whatever comes in here. Does anything warp in at all? Looks like Rain's more focused on this attack on the left side. Does Soulkey see that? That's the question. I don't know. Observer coming in to scout, spot out any Swarm Host that might exist. A wrap around from the Zerglings from the back side, trying to get in, but they're running back and forth across this line, not doing any damage at all. This is a really scary position for the Zerg player to be in. Does he see this Warp Prism? Yes, he sends over a single, 1 or 2 Mutalisks to take that down. And in the end, it looks like the Protoss army was cleaned up. Or they did, yeah, they actually recalled back home. I apologize. That's not what happened. They didn't get cleaned up. They just recalled, so they're still alive. They're still here. We have Colossus with +2 upgrades, +3 upgrades on the way, as well as the ranged attack, the extended thermal lance for the Colossus as well. Just so much more useful when taking down those locusts if you can do it from far away. Carapace level 1 coming up for the Zerg player. He is taking the gold base if he can. A lot of swarm hosts here to defend against it. And the locusts, again, do have +1 upgrades, making them a little bit more dangerous. Coming on up, the Observer leading the way for the charge for this army. The Blink Stalkers blinking back when they get hurt. Some good micro here from Rain, doing a really good job. And no force fields yet. Rain feels like the Colossus are doing a good job of just burning down these locusts as best they can. It doesn't need to force field anything out. Yes, just burning them down, leaving little carcasses of locusts to die. Everybody heads on back as there is a small group of Mutalisks and Roaches and Zerglings here on the right side, threatening that third base. Rain does not want to lose this third base at all, especially considering Soulkey has this gold base almost up and running. Trying to run away, trying to get out. Force fields miss most of the Zerglings, but the Roaches are trapped. Yes, the Roaches just try to get some pot shots off, but they can't take out a single Stalker before they all die. And the Zerglings are left taking down a forward pylon. Locusts kind of moving around trying to see what they can kill, but there's nobody really there at all, and they're going to expire without getting a single kill. Yes, they do. Gold base is up. There are 4, 5, 8 drones on their way to that base, getting saturated very quickly, but we're moving up here. Static defense is up. We do have spine crawlers, queens are here, corruptors are here. Corruptors trying to focus down these Colossus at the back, but there are a lot of +3 stalkers to chase them away. There aren't enough Mutalisks to do too much damage either. The swarm hosts are what we need to do most of the damage, but these +3 Colossus, how many are there? 5 +3 Colossus, burning down most of everything that they can, that the Zerg player can bring out on the ground. A small counterattack of Zerglings gets cleaned up here on those Colossus. None of them die. They do take some damage though. The Corruptors swinging back in for another shot at these Corruptors, taking one down, throwing down Corruption on the Corruptors so that they do a little bit more damage to them and they're more easy to kill. 2 go down, but it looks like all the Swarm hosts die. These Blink Stalkers doing so much damage. There are still 2 Colossus left. Zealots moving on to here as well. What is the response from Soulkey going to be here? The Protoss army is at his front door, and Soulkey calls the GG. So at this point, I believe I miscalled it at the first. Was Soulkey up? Or was, yeah, Soulkey, for game, this is game 3. So yes, the series was tied 1-1. So I apologize for the confusion there, but that just means Rain takes a 2-1 series lead right now in this quarterfinal series. And so what that means is the next game is the winner go home for Soulkey. Soulkey did a good job. Did a good job harassing that third base for Rain, but in the end wasn't able to actually kill it or even kill too many workers, and the huge swarm that came up for the Protoss player Rain, which is too much for him to handle. And in the end, he did tap out. So this has been Falcon Paladin with something stuck in his throat. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You can catch me on Twitch and Facebook and Twitter at /Falcon Paladin to catch my new videos and when I do streaming out on Twitch and things like that. So this has been Falcon Paladin, and until next time, you take care of yourself.